Hi James, how are you?
Hey Rich, good, how are you?
All right, thanks. Hey, what would it take for you to consider 2018 a successful season, and is it within your reach?
Yes. It's hard for me to say that right now because the season's not over. We're talking about, the season, so we're focused on Rutgers. So, at the end of the season, when it's all over, we played all our games. I think there's a lot of things to be proud of. I think there's a lot of things that we can build on. We'll have time to discuss those things after the season. I don't really want to start talking about season accomplishments when we're focused on Rutgers, but I get the question.
Bob Longer, Harrisburg Patriot News.
Hello James, how are you?
Good, how are you, Bob?
I'm good. James, I wanted to ask you about the decision to flip-flop my days a little pride, what went into it, and how do you think they did against the
Yeah, this is one of these questions that you guys ask me that I'd love to just answer completely, but it's not the right thing to do for our program and from a competitive advantage against Rutgers. But mainly based on a lot of information, we just felt like the best opportunity for both Ryan and Will to play their best football and give us the best opportunity to protect our quarterback consistently would be to move Will to left tackle and Ryan to right tackle. A lot of it stemmed about Bates, making sure that he was comfortable with it and okay with it. But like always, Bates is another example of a guy that's just going to do what's best for our team. So it probably did not pan out as well as we would have liked. But we'll obviously look at it again this week and see what we think is in our best interest moving forward.
Derek Reverse, Worcester Downs leader.
Hi, James, good afternoon.
Hey Derek, how are you?
I'm doing good. James, you mentioned some better third down success against Wisconsin. How much of that was the fact of not being in so many third and long situations, and what do you think was the key to getting more of those 33, 34 situations?
Yeah, I think that would definitely was a major contributing factor. I think we're running the ball better right now, and I think we got more of a commitment to doing that, especially with Miles. Getting the ball into his hands, trying to have some schemes where people can't do things to force us to pull the ball and throw it on the edge, or pull the ball and have Trace carry the ball. That's always going to happen. There's a lot more runs called in the game, and depending on what the defense does, puts us in a situation where Trace will pull it and run himself, or that will throw. Usually when that happens, it creates some pretty advantageous situations. Sometimes, they've done a good job as well from a scheme perspective. But I think, us, making sure going into each week that we got some runs that we can hand the ball off to Miles and allow him to get downhill. It also helps our offensive line from a number of different perspectives. But I think that was the biggest difference. We had more manageable situations.
Mark Williams, John Call.
Hi, James, how are you?
Good, Mark. How are you?
Good, thanks. How has John Johnson approached the past 2 weeks of not playing, and how has he handled the season in general? Also, what might you expect from that?
Yeah, Juwan, obviously is fighting through some things. Juwan's, been through things like this, kind of throughout his career and throughout his life, and our team has been awesome with him. Very talented guys, has flashed some brilliance at times. But we got to get him, healthy. And once he's healthy, he'll be able to go out there and contribute at a very high level, and we need him. But like I've talked about all year long, got tremendous faith in Juwan, got a lot of love for Juwan. But we just got to get him 100% healthy so he can go out and be the type of player that we know he can be. And when that will be, again, I'm not gonna speculate.
Right. Joe Giuliano, Philadelphia Inquirer.
Hi, James.
Hey, Joe.
Are you pleased with the improvements your team has shown on a week-to-week basis from September 1 until now?
Yeah, I think, we obviously, we're doing, I think, a pretty good job of that early in the season, and then, we hit some adversity like a lot of programs do all over the country, and then I think we're headed back in that direction as well. We're headed back in that direction again. So, I'm pleased with that. Obviously, there was some time there during the season that I didn't think we were doing that, and that's something that I've taken great pride in throughout my career as a program that individually and collectively gets better. So I think we're back on that track right now. I think last week was an example of that, and we need to do that again this week.
Mike Gross, Mr. Newspapers.
Good afternoon, James.
Hey, Mike.
It seems like your team is relatively healthy. Obviously, you would know better than us. It seems like you're about as healthy as you could expect a football team to be this time of year. So, is there anything that you've learned about managing workload, injury prevention, that kind of thing, recovery, that kind of thing, that you think might have contributed to that?
Well, a couple things. We spend a lot of time managing these types of things. We spend a lot of time having challenging and difficult off seasons to build ourselves for these things. I think Andy Mutnam and our training staff have done an excellent job, with that as well. And the other thing is, I don't talk about it, with you guys. It's a next man up. I think sometimes that's really good from a competitive standpoint. I think sometimes that's bad because there's questions that you guys ask that if you knew everything what was going on from a medical perspective, I think it would clear some things up for you guys. But again, I want our guys focused on the next man up mentality. I want our guys focused on finding a way to be successful, and I don't want to give what I think is a competitive advantage to the teams that we're playing. So I think we are in a pretty good place, but there's obviously, a handful of issues that you guys aren't aware of that factors in. It factors into some of the things that shows up on Saturdays. But again, I still feel strongly that this is the right thing to do for our program.
Donnie Collins, Grand Rapids Tribune.
How are you doing?
Good, Donnie. How are you?
Doing very well.
I like that, Donnie. I like that. Doing very well.
I am. I can't lie.
Good.
After the game, you said Sean Clifford did some things on the sideline that you found impressive. Is there an example you can provide with him? And what kind of things do you look for from younger players who maybe aren't playing a lot that make you realize that they're maximizing their development when they're not playing a lot?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. So obviously, it's things that we see in practice every single day. It's how they are in meetings. It's how they are in terms of taking their test. Sean is one of the more competitive guys that I've been around. I think I mentioned to you guys before, very, very competitive, very prideful, which early on it made him difficult to coach sometimes. Tommy Stevens was like that as well, because they feel so strongly about what they're doing. They got conviction, which I think is a great thing. So it's that fine line. One of the things that we talk about all the time is embracing your role. And he was doing some things on the sideline from a leadership perspective, and one of the guys kind of jabbing at him, kind of poking fun, and he turned around and kind of snapped on the guy. It was like, I'm maximizing my role. I'm gonna do whatever I can to help this team. And he was like deadly serious and locked in. That's kind of how he is with everything. If it's a race, he wants to win the race. If it's academics, he wants the highest GPA. It's all of it. I'm very pleased with his makeup. I'm very pleased with our quarterback room in general. It's been really good like that. And I think, obviously, Coach Ronnie's had a big part of that, but I also think that Trace, in general, has had a big part of teaching, the young guys in the room and guys behind him. He's going to leave a legacy from that standpoint. We talk about that a lot. Leaving a legacy in how you prepare, how you work, how you train, how you treat people, all those types of things. And these veterans that we have, they've done that at a very, very high level. Obviously Trace tied to all-time win record. I think as a starting quarterback in Penn State history, right? And there's no more important stat for a quarterback. I think those guys have been fortunate. I know it's not always fun sitting behind someone, but I think a guy that's done it at such a high level, both on and off the field, there's tremendous value in that too.
Corey Geiger, Elton here.
Hi, James. How are you?
Good, Corey. How are you?
James, do you think your defense has gotten the
credit that it deserves this season? You were mentioning some of the stuff against Wisconsin earlier. In what area specifically do you think Brent Pry has done a good job this season in particular?
I think the thing that I would say about our defense and coach is, we got guys that aren't selfish. Offensive coaches, defensive coaches, special teams. You have to be careful. Sometimes you get in a situation where coaches are making decisions based off of stats. They want to be able to say that we have these stats. They want to be able to on Sunday, whether you won or lost, to be able to focus on these stats. And I think we got a group of men. I think Brent's a great example of that. It's about winning, and there's some things and choices and decisions that are made that probably go against, stats, go against, having really strong stats offensively, defensively, or special teams, and we're making decisions that we think are in the best interest of the team, winning football. It's funny, sometimes I'll go in to reinforce a point with stats, and I'll bring up something about player rotation and how this guy's leading us in tackles and things like that. And Brent's not concerned about those things. He obviously takes the feedback and likes the feedback, but again, for him, it's about him watching the tape with the coaching staff and what we're doing well, accountability, trust, and discipline, and those types of things. I think our defense puts a priority on winning and not being selfish and doing what's in Penn State's best interest and doing what's in our kids' best interest. So that's the thing that I know, as a head coach that I really value. And obviously me and Brent go way back. We got a lot of history to his first year coaching in Stroudsburg when I was still playing, and his dad being my offensive coordinator. So he knows me inside and out, probably better than I'd like him to, and I know him, inside and out probably better than he'd like me to. We go way back, both the good and the bad. So I got tremendous respect for him and our entire defensive staff, and they've done a tremendous job for us, and we'll continue to.
Well, good. Questions here in the room? Raise your hand. We'll go into.
Hey James, how are you today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Hey, 5 of your 6 receivers were in the last game were either first or second year players. How do you think they did, and especially Dotson and Shorter? And just for the sake of clarity, is Polk in the same situation as Juwan Johnson, if you could say?
Yeah, so Jahan, as you guys know, we've talked about him a decent amount already. He continues to do good things. I thought the thing he did last week, which was really impressive, is moving to another position. That shows that he was learning concepts rather than just memorizing plays at a position and routes at a position and responsibilities at a position. He was studying and understanding concepts, which I think is critical in our game, that you're teaching concepts so you understand how it all fits together. So I thought that was really impressive, and he continues to do good things for us. Shorter has shown some real flashes, and it's allowed us to kind of build on that with him. We expect that to happen again this week. He gained a little bit of time last week. He did some good things, so we'd like to build on that this week. And then, I think, obviously KJ's doing some great things. But yeah, we got some decent amount of youth there. But so far so good. You guys have heard us about, being excited about it. And then we got some veterans, that are working through some things. So hopefully we'll get those guys back and now have gained some experience with some young players, which is going to pay dividends for us, not only the rest of the season, but also next year. And then also you get some of these vets back, and we can take the next step.
Is Polk, if you don't answer it, it's okay, but is Polk in the same situation as Juwan?
It's hard to say the same because, as you can imagine, there's 100 different variables that go into it, but similar. There's some similarities there, yes, sir.
James, with Micah on Saturday leading the team in tackles, where have you seen him make the most growth in the last few weeks, and is there anything more he can do to earn a start at outside linebacker?
Yeah, I think, Chris sent me a quote the other day, and I don't know who said it, but I think it was a really strong quote that, he is now not just relying on his athletic ability and his natural instincts, which is what he was doing early in the season. He's now, using the techniques and fundamentals and keys and things like that. that are allowing him really to kind of take his game to the next level and also build that trust that his role continues to grow. I think you've seen that all season and specifically last week. So, you know, we'll just continue headed in that direction. You know, this week is a new week, and we'll make the decisions after Thursday's practice and Friday morning, and what's going to be the best, you know, situation for us to be successful on Saturday. And there's so many factors that go into it. Kind of back to that point that we just got done talking about stats. You know, it's more than just the stats. It's all of it.
James, over the past few weeks, the pass defense has been really, really good. Even against Michigan, only gave up about 140 yards. How much of that is the front seven getting a lot of pressure, and how much of it is the secondary playing really well? Do you find that they're even maybe a little bit underrated?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. I think at the end of the day, and you guys have heard me talk about this, and I feel stronger and stronger and stronger about it every day. Is you know, offensive line is going to dictate your success, and defensive line is going to dictate your success. It's not even close. You know, if you don't have those units playing at a high level, you can be the best play caller in the country. You have the best running backs, best quarterbacks, all that stuff doesn't matter. Same thing with secondary. If you have those pieces and they are dominant, everything else kind of flows from there. So, you know, for us, investing in that development of those positions and how we train those guys in the off season is so important. How we recruit at those positions is so important. And I think that's what we see right now with our defense. You know, we came into the season having major questions at defensive tackle depth and at linebacker. And I think what you're seeing right now is you're seeing our linebackers gain confidence and experience, and you're seeing our D tackles gain confidence and experience, and then you're seeing the D ends, who we already felt good about, you see them taking the next step as well. So, you know, we got a lot of production out of those guys right now. You think about what Etor's been able to do, you think about what Sharif's been able to do, you think about what Windsor's been able to do, and then, you know, the guy that's not getting a whole lot of love is Kevin Givens. But Kevin Givens, for us, is killing it. You know, he's doing his job, you know, consistently. And you know, sometimes when you do that, other guys shine. But as a coaching staff and as a team, we know the value that Kevin's bringing. And then, although we've had a number of injuries, again, that we don't spend a whole lot of time talking about, you're seeing other guys having to step up and make plays for us as well, which has been great. I thought P.J. Mustipher played by far his best game last week. And again, it doesn't always necessarily show up in the stat sheet, but that his impact allowed other guys to have success too. So you know, we're getting better, which is exciting.